Hey guys, welcome back to Think Beautiful, the channel where I talk all about Meghan Markle's debacles. And in this episode, we have to talk about this particular debacle because Meghan has just released her interview with Harper's Bazaar. Now she's also on the cover, so good on her. I kind of thought this was going to happen when I saw her at Paris Fashion Week, cozying up to the editor there, and she's done it. So good on her. I guess she's just living her best grifting life, isn't she? But let's go through this interview because it is very interesting. And keeping in mind, she left the monarchy years ago. So I'm sure she won't be mentioning it at all, will she? No, of course not. So let's get into this one. Meghan's moment. After years of being subsumed by other people's narratives, the Duchess of Sussex is ready to author her own next chapter. Now, that just sounds to me like I haven't had a voice. I couldn't say what I wanted to say, but now I'm going to say it. Meghan, you left the monarchy 5 years ago. We've heard all this before. We know your narrative. It's all I'm the best. My husband loves me. Blah, blah, blah. We know how this goes. I just can't believe she's trying this one again. Surely this is getting stale by now. Now, the interview starts very strangely. So I'll explain a little bit of what this is about. But first of all, it says a cluster of white tents has been set up at the La Brea Tar Pits, the active fossil dig site and natural history museum in Los Angeles, to receive a group of girls from a local STEM academy. One tent near the entrance is appointed with a handsome, worn-looking wooden desk. Handsome is a strange word for a desk, but I guess it's more handsome than Harry, so whatever. With a tarp hanging behind it that's printed with a reproduction of a nature painting. It looks like the movie version of an archaeologist's field station. So that is a strange way to start, but what that is trying to say is they're setting the scene for Meghan to meet these girls from the local STEM academy. And she did this because she basically ditched this event she was meant to go to. So this was her make it up kind of thing that she was going to do to not look so bad. Now, this was the Night of Wonder she was meant to attend at the LA Natural History Museum. She was all lined up. It was going to completely clash with Trooping the Colour. She was so happy with that. But then it got cancelled at the last minute because of the LA riots. So when they finally rescheduled it, she couldn't be bothered to go because it didn't line up. It didn't make any sense to her. She'd lost interest by that time. She lost so much interest, actually, that she instead went to Emma Greed's seat at the table at the exact same time that the event was on, and she was like 30 minutes away. I went through that in another video. But she was being honored at this event, so she didn't show up. Instead, she did like a little video call, which she pre-taped. So she met with these girls before, and this was almost like okay, I'll do something for you to not look so ridiculous. So that's what they're talking about in this interview here. The 11 and 12-year-olds in their purple and grey uniforms are unaware of who they are about to meet. It's a warm September day, and I can hear them murmuring outside the tent. A golf cart pulls up, the gravel crunching beneath its tires. Okay, so Meghan pulls up in a golf cart. Oh, goodness sakes. The Duchess of Sussex, someone in the scrum announces, as if those girls would know who she is. Meghan descends dressed in wide leg trousers, surprise, surprise, a silk blouse, probably creased, and a small pair of paved diamond studs by the Ukrainian brand Guzima. They were a gift from her husband, Prince Harry, picked up on a recent trip to Kiev with his Invictus Games Foundation. Meghan lived just a few blocks from here as a child. She mentions that this is where she rode on the back of her mother's bike before she was allowed to ride here on her own. Everyone is ushered into the tent where a table is set up with boxes full of dirt and bone specimens. I thought it was going to say boxes of as ever spread or whatever, like she's trying to give it away. A museum educator begins to explain what they are looking at. Meghan is attuned to the girls. She asks one about her nails, another what she's studying. When a girl mentions her love of languages, oh, here we go, Meghan lights up. I'm learning French on Duolingo, she says proudly, adding that she just hit a 90-day streak. Okay, so she's telling these girls who couldn't care less that she is learning French on Duolingo. Is she being paid by Duolingo? Because it certainly sounds like it. Meghan and the girls assemble for a group photo. Some girls look straight at the camera while a few squint or stare off to the side, an attempt maybe to stave off self-consciousness. I don't know why they need to mention that. This is a time for many girls when they become aware of being seen. Oh, that's why they're mentioning it. Sometimes benevolently, more often not. Meghan stands in the middle of the group. Well, that's a surprise, isn't it? Meghan's in the middle. She lives a life accompanied by a level of scrutiny that every tween girl imagines is always present. Except for Meghan, it's very real. Here comes the victim narrative. I don't know how any woman could see a young girl and not see herself in her, especially at that age, Meghan tells me later. Okay, already, I think I've had enough of this interview, but let's just keep going for the sake of this video. When Meghan became engaged to Prince Harry in 2017, why do we need to go through all of this again? It triggered a tectonic shift in the culture. I mean, this is a bit OTT. Already an actress on the popular cable drama Suits and the purveyor of an aspirational lifestyle brand. Sorry, that is not a brand. It was just like a website, a web blog. The TIG, Meghan shot to global superstardom and became the subject of an intense public fascination made up of equal parts adoration and vitriol. Excuse me, at the start it was all adoration. Okay, no need to mention vitriol. We're talking about right at the start here. The contrast in Meghan and Harry's backgrounds, she was American and he was British. She was a working actress from a modest family and he was a royal. She was biracial and he was a symbol for an imaginary monoracial Britain, scrambled multiple narratives. Depending on your perspective, their union symbolized the triumph of liberal post-racial meritocracy or the downfall of traditional conservative values. In 2020, when the couple announced their intention to step back from royal duties, which they are still yet to do, they're basically in a half in, half out hokey pokey model, and moved to California. The tabloids dubbed it Megxit, makes a lot of sense to me. It was a cultural inflection point. Was this a refutation of generational trauma or millennials being afraid of hard work? Neither of those. Thank you. Meghan just wanted to get the heck out of there because she wanted to make money. Okay. Is there an option C there? In all of those stories, though, Meghan lost her agency and her humanity. Wow. Meghan lost her agency and her humanity. I actually would disagree with that, surprisingly. I don't think she lost her agency at all. She decided to leave. Wouldn't that be her using her agency? Wouldn't that be her making a decision and actually doing something that she wanted to do and losing her humanity? Wow. That should not have made it into this article. To say that Meghan lost her humanity because she left the monarchy, I'm speechless. That is way too much. Meghan understands her voice better than you, better than any producer could put it out there, says Terry Wood, former executive vice president at Harper Productions. Does that surprise you? Oprah Winfrey's production company. Wood executive produced the explosive 2021 Oprah interview with Meghan and Harry after they stepped back from the royal family. Its airing triggered an aftershock, and worked with Meghan on the production of her podcast, her Flopcast, R-Swipes or Archetypes. She knows how she comes across, then why does she do ridiculous things? And she knows how she wants to connect, but she doesn't actually connect. She understands that so much has been written about her that when she does something, she wants to break through that noise so people see that she is authentically trying to be herself. Well, Terry Wood, it's not working. So what I can see already is that she's ringing people in to stand up for her. So already she's got Terry Wood, who she hasn't probably spoken to since 2022 or whatever, after archetypes. And now all of a sudden it's 2025 and he's praising her. Okay. They have reached out to him and said, could you say a few nice words? Because we're trying to fix Meghan's reputation over here. So this is actually very transparent. And don't use the word authentic, Meghan, okay? It's not going to work. Meghan has acquired a level of fame that is irrevocable. The question becomes, what does one woman do with that amount of power and tricky sort of influence? In the 5 years since leaving the firm, exactly 5 years ago, ages ago, what some members of the royal family, Harry, I guess you're talking about, call the institution that dictates their lives. Yeah, that's definitely from Harry. Meghan has remained focused on the projects she has built for herself and that fit her lifestyle as a mother of young children. Prince Archie 6 and Princess Lily 4, if you didn't already know. Together with Prince Harry, she launched the non-profit Archwell Foundation in 2020 with the mission to show up. She doesn't bother showing up anymore. And do good. It's never done any good. She has signed development deals with Spotify and Netflix. We know how Spotify went. Her lifestyle series with Love Meghan, in which she invites friends who are actually not her friends, they're just Netflix people that are already being paid by Netflix, to a Nancy Myers-esque California home to cook, craft, and garden with her and just be completely cringe, basically, coincided with the launch of her brand As Ever, which sells scented candles with no wick, preserves, which are actually just runny spreads, flower sprinkles, which are dead flowers and useless, and wine, because Meghan certainly likes a drink. After years of others attempting to fit her into their narratives, give it a break, Meghan, honestly, she is now pursuing a life and a career that feel authentic to her, except she's using Duchess of Sussex, and her alone, and allowing herself to enjoy it too. Oh, gosh. The appearance at the La Brea Tar Pits has wrapped, and now it's lunchtime at the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I followed Meghan underneath the iconic green and white striped awning of the entryway and through the cream carpeted lobby and outdoors onto the patio where a live piano player's notes accompany our procession. Long the seen and be seen spot for Hollywood deal making and politicking, it is a calculated choice as the site for my first interview with Meghan. We are ushered to a circular table in the corner of the garden, a prime seat where we can see the other diners and they can see the three of us. The Sussex's chief communications officer, Meredith Maines, sits between us. Look at that. Meredith is right there. She's like, I'm going to sort this out, Meghan. Don't you say anything stupid. I'll make sure that it doesn't go in the interview. Okay, let's see how this goes, Meredith. Let's see if anything got past you. We order a burger and fries for the table. Meghan always has to order burger and fries. And Meghan orders the Polo Power Bowl. Why is she suddenly ordering a Power Bowl? She loves fries, okay? When it arrives, she holds up the dish, taking genuine delight in the perfectly arranged produce aligned to make a rainbow, like she's never seen it before. Oh, she loves rainbows though. She loves when people make fruit rainbows. So I guess this is just another version of that. During our conversation, Meghan pauses to chat with the restaurateur, Michael Chow. Okay, so she just drifts off during the interview and starts talking to someone else, is what it says there. She says his restaurant catered a recent birthday for Prince Harry, or H, as she always refers to him because she can't say his name. Okay, so Harry sounds like he had his birthday at a restaurant, which we never heard about, and has a whispered conference with a famous film titan. Who's that? I'd love to know who that is. How do powerful women flex? Do they lead with deference or dominance? Meghan seems to lead with affability. The warmth with which she greets each of these men, oh, that doesn't sound right, and with which they reciprocate is genuine. Wow, I guess she's used to that. With me, her interviewer, where the power balance shifts back and forth, she is warm and open, and she always maintains direct eye contact because she's staring you down, love. It's a skill she's honed since childhood. I was such a little nerd, she says. My entire identity was wrapped up in being the smart one. There used to be this show, I'm dating myself, but do you remember Studs? This is where I'm reminded that Meghan, like me, is an elder millennial born in 1981. We are a maligned bunch, hated by our elders for our generational insistence on authenticity and social justice, derided by those younger for our earnest belief that the world is capable of change, what Gen Z has labeled cringe. Okay, so the interviewer has just called herself and Meghan cringe. So I guess that's a diss, you could say. Studs is an elder millennial touchpoint, a dating game show that aired on Fox in the early 90s. I distinctly remember my mum and her friends hating it because of how often the contestants used the word buns. What are they talking about here? After school, kids would enact a little makeshift version of Studs to play. They were like, well, Meghan can be the host, she says. Of course, she has to be the host. Duh. I had the personality type of I can help coordinate, you mean boss people around, I can help organize, and I can facilitate. She likes to just take over, obviously. I think I'm probably the same now. Yes, you are, Meghan. You take over everything and you micromanage it. And you're not very good at it. She brings up the girls at the tar pits and their vulnerability, which she clearly emphasizes with. It makes sense. Some of those girls are the same age, 11. Oh, please, no. Please, are we going to talk about this? Oh, the same age, 11, as Meghan was when she graduated from Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse. Oh my gosh, they're mentioning the letter. It's, oh no, it's the age she was when she wrote a letter to Procter and Gamble. I can barely read this. To protest gender stereotypes in the company's advertising. Why are we talking about this? It was also around the time of the 1992 LA uprising. When I ask her about that time now, she says it was cinematic in a way. What? That's not a good thing to say. I don't think many people can understand. It was so visual, smoke everywhere. People were driving around with the back of their SUVs open. I saw people running with boxes of diapers. Oh, I highly doubt that. Smashed windows, so much fire and ash falling from the sky that it felt like snow. I'm sure someone has already fact checked this. As we sit at the Polo Lounge, the city is currently at the center of a national fight over the enforcement of this administration's immigration policy and the continued deployment of the National Guard to urban areas. But the city, Meghan says many times over the course of our conversation, is resilient. It was scary, but LA survived it. Or she dodges the political angle there. For Meghan, the trajectory of her life has come full circle. Yes, it has, Meghan, because you tried to get somewhere and it didn't work, and you're right back where you started. The Sussexes moved to California in 2020, settling in Montecito, a secluded, wealthy enclave of celebrity entrepreneurs like Oprah Winfrey and Gwyneth Paltrow, who doesn't like her. There, Meghan reconnected with a tight-knit circle of women, including Kelly Zajfen, who met Meghan when they were both in their 20s, when she was with Trevor. It is a small group of us that protect each other, Zajfen says. Oh, okay. So now they're talking to Kelly Zajfen to prop Meghan up as well. So this is the second person that they've brought into this interview to make Meghan sound better. They had fallen out of touch. Wow, okay. So basically, Meghan had ditched Kelly Zajfen. Maybe Kelly didn't realize that. But Meghan reached out in 2022 after she found out that Zajfen's 9-year-old son had passed away from COVID-19 and viral meningitis, and probably also because she needed some friends in the US. I'm just saying, why had she not spoken to her since? Why didn't she keep in touch? Questions, questions, questions. The second I hear her voice, it felt like I was right back with her, Zajfen says. I mean, you were very vulnerable, Kelly. That's all I'm saying. Zajfen is on the board of the Alliance for Children's Rights, a non-profit that provides support for children and teens in California's foster care system, and that Meghan and Harry, through their Archwell Foundation, have supported. There's not a day that goes by that she hasn't checked in or I haven't checked in, Zajfen says. Someone can show up in the time of need or grief, and oftentimes they don't stay or they're only here for a short amount of time. But Meghan just always made herself available to all of us. Meghan is of a generation of women who were taught to seek self-actualization through work. Well, she hates work, so. This same group of millennial women experienced a radical shift once work was disrupted by the 2020 pandemic. I ask her, despite her extraordinary circumstances, if she has experienced any of that same upending shift. I like the community of work and the connection, Meghan says. I think a lot of it is in my DNA. Oh, let's not talk about your DNA, Meghan. What is it, 43% Nigerian? What is that DNA? It's an attitude in contrast with the current trend of valorizing a short life, that is, a life without work outside the home with an emphasis on ease, which requires its own level of hidden labor. You should do what works for you, Meghan says diplomatically. Oh, great saying, Meghan. For her, though, when people start to see your work ethic, what is that, like 1 hour a week, and really understand how dedicated you are to things, how you are in one place, what is this word salad? I believe is how you are in other places. So for me, that's how I show up when I do potlucks at my kids' school. Oh, now she's doing potlucks at the kids' school. Tell me a school where you can just rock up and start cooking. I don't think so. That's a lie. That's how I show up when putting a party together for my friend who just had a baby. That's how I show up in my business. Oh, there are lies coming out of this one, you guys. The fear of failure often runs in tandem with the millennial desire to achieve, best illustrated in the spectre of the girl boss. When I broach the topic and ask Meghan what she's learned from her mistakes, she probably says, "What mistakes?" She deadpans. Oh, listen to this. "You learn not to do it again," before clarifying, "If it all goes swimmingly, you don't learn from it. If you don't learn anything, you're not going to grow," says Meghan Markle. So Meghan thinks she has grown and she's learnt, does she? Then why is she even doing this interview in the first place? She continues, "I'm a mum with kids at that age when they are constantly learning something new. I watch them face things that feel completely insurmountable every day. But you can remember and say, I know it seems really hard right now, but trust me, that's going to come so easily soon. I can give myself the same grace as a founder. There's no such thing as perfect. I too get to make mistakes." Oh yeah, like American Riviera Orchard, your most famous mistake ever. Completely avoidable, but okay. "There's also not a lot of fun in trying to be perfect," Meghan says. So why try to do that if you want to have fun? Oh, okay, so she's making mistakes on purpose to have fun. Is that what she's saying here? And by her good friend Serena Williams' account, oh, here comes another one. This is the third person now to speak about Meghan. We've had Terry Wood, we've had Kelly Zajfen, now enter Serena Williams. We love a good mimosa, Williams says. We could talk for 100 hours and it feels like 10 minutes go by, and it's like we never stop smiling. Zajfen tells me, she's funny. I think maybe that's surprising to people. Yeah, well, it is surprising because she's not very nice. So you don't really associate funny with not very nice people. Williams, who met Meghan over a decade ago at a Super Bowl party, says, we both definitely have a dry sense of humor. I think that's why we hit it off for no reason at this silly football thing. The Super Bowl party is a silly football thing now. Even though Serena Williams went to the last Super Bowl and was like dancing with Kendrick Lamar, it's just a silly football thing. Oh, okay. We were just like, why are we here? To meet you, apparently, and we've been lifelong friends ever since. I don't like things that feel overly realized, Meghan says. If you overwork the dough, it's not going to rise. Well, Meghan, maybe you should use that analogy in your own life. If you try too hard, it's not going to work because you're trying too hard all the time and it never works. Take your own advice. And sometimes I think the stress that people put on moments, they are so consumed in them that you lose the fun of why you're doing something. I'm rolling my eyes with every sentence that I read. You just can't see. Not everyone who starts a business is under the microscope that she's under, Terry Wood says. Okay, Terry Wood's still banging on over here. What she is learning to weather and ride out is the judgment that happens as a businesswoman when you were that famous. Terry, it's not about being famous, okay? It's the way she has behaved. It's the things she has said about other people. A waiter comes to clear the table, but Meghan asks him to leave the fries behind. I told you she likes fries. I ask her if she ever feels the need to compartmentalize the parts of her life, work, and family. My office is right by the kitchen. Of course it is. She always has to be making her preserves. We know that. And I love that I can work from home, she says. Well, I bet Harry doesn't. It's a great luxury. Her daughter, Lily, and by the way, this interview keeps referring to Lily in her full name, which I'm not going to say. So anyway, Lily apparently comes and sits on my lap when I'm in the middle of the meeting, whether it's about P&L for my brand or it's about something creative, like a useless piece of information that we don't need to know. That's just what kids do. When I ask Meghan what she hopes her kids see when they see her working, she tells me, I hope they see the value of being brave. I highly doubt that. So now Meghan is painting herself as being brave, that she's come out and said all these things because she's so brave. She's a victim and she's speaking up. They saw it when the jam was just a pot on the stove. Well, it wasn't a jam, it's a spread. Bubbling. When you're young, she adds, I think you are a little bit more fearless. As we get older, we lose some of that. Our allotted time at the table is coming to a close. The last of the meal is whisked away, and a waiter comes by with an unsolicited cappuccino. In the foam on top, the restaurant has printed a photorealistic image of Meghan. Oh, that's hilarious. So they actually put Meghan's face on the cappuccino foam, like they dusted the chocolate in the shape of her face. I would love to see that. We have to see that. Oh, she says, smiling down at it. I recognize this picture. That's from our trip to South Africa. It's a lovely and absurd perk of celebrity, and Meghan is tickled enough to take a photo of it. Well, we still haven't seen that one. Maybe that's going to come up on her Instagram. When I meet up with Meghan a week later on a stormy day in New York, she's wearing black leggings and an oversized Northwestern sweatshirt. I mean, of course she is dressed like Diana, just on a normal day. Her hair is pulled back, and if she has any makeup on, it's difficult to tell. Her skin is bare, and some of her freckles are visible. She looks like she could still be in college. What the heck? Meghan does not look like she should still be in college. I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean. I can't really say things like that, but surely you wouldn't think that Meghan is like 17 or something or 18 or whatever. Like that's not sorry. No. No, that's a stretch. How much has she paid this interviewer to put that in there? Meredith Maines has said, yeah, you write that down, love. That goes in, please. We're in a grand brownstone on the Upper East Side that belongs to one of Meghan's friends. Okay, I wonder who that is. When I enter, the house manager announces, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, even though we appear to be the only two people in the house. That's embarrassing. Meghan and Harry are in New York to receive the Humanitarians of the Year award from Project Healthy Minds, a non-profit, that should say a non-charity, focused on mental health. Just imagining those two accepting Humanitarian of the Year award harms my mental health, I'll be honest. We try to decide where we will have our talk, downstairs in the kitchen, with its oak countertops and view of the patio, or upstairs. She gestures towards the second floor of the house, which is accessed via a glass elevator in the living room. In the week since we last met, Meghan caused a sensation when she made a surprise appearance at the Balenciaga show during Paris Fashion Week, the first with Pier Paolo Piccioli at the helm. The two have known each other for years. I was excited for him, she says. I reached out and I said, happy to come and support you and just invite myself. We kept it a secret and it was really fun. There's that word again. I love being able to do both, Meghan says. To play in the sandbox with my kids, I just don't believe she does that, and to play in the front row at a show. She's been in the front row of a show once. I think the moment that you start making all of your personal decisions based on external judgment, then you lose your authenticity. Well, only if you had it in the first place. I point out that when women in the public eye are multidimensional, they tend to get a lot of flack. Why do you think that is? Meghan asks me. I hate when she asks the interviewer the question back at them. It's really facetious. Here, I launch into a tangent about our culture's deep and historical distrust of women's voices in public. You know what I mean? I finally say. Meghan deadpans again. Well, yeah. Well, she wasn't listening to you, love. She couldn't care less. She zoned off there. I tell her it sounds like she has good boundaries. I think my boundaries became stronger once I came into the public eye in this very... She pauses and makes a face similar to the one she made when talking about making mistakes, and laughs. I could think of any adjective to fill the blank, and it would probably work. You find different ways to protect yourself, whether that's self-preservation or it's just growing up. So she's saying there that her boundaries became stronger when she came into the public eye. Well, then why did she leave the monarchy? If she had strong boundaries and she was so strong and it was all fine when she was in the public eye, then why was there an issue, Meghan? That doesn't even add up. Her circle of trust is tight. She puts her hand on her heart when she talks about her husband. Oh, bleh, I need a sick bowl here. He loves me so boldly, fully. And he also has a different perspective because he sees media that I wouldn't, she says. What does she mean by that? Does she mean that he reads the media and she doesn't? No one in the world loves me more than him, so I know he's always going to make sure that he has my back, except when I shop around my divorce book. I mean, none of that there says that she loves him. It's just her telling us that he loves her. She has done this before. With Harry, Meghan explains, you have someone who just has this childlike wonder and playfulness. Yes, well, he is like a child. I was so drawn to that. No, you were drawn to the fact that he was a prince. And he brought that out in me. No, you are also immature. That's translated into every part of our life because you're both immature. Even in business, I want us to play and have fun and explore and be creative. Rolling my eyes again. Meghan also credits her mother, Doria Ragland. Where is Doria? Is Doria going to be in the holiday special, I wonder? Anyway, she credits Doria with teaching her how to play. As a child, I was very much an old soul, she says. That's been part of my wiring. My mum would say I was just born that way. Boring, she means, maybe. Her mother, in contrast, was a free spirit who just went off wherever she wanted and was never around. And they were a close duo, except when she wasn't around. A travel agent during part of Meghan's childhood, Ragland would use her employee discounts, oh, I'm sure she used her discounts, so they could travel to Mexico for Day of the Dead. Meghan's maternal grandmother, another strong single woman, lived around the corner. They're all single in this family. It was at her grandmother's that Meghan learned about food. That's where she learned about food. I think she means learned about cooking or something like that. I'm sure she knew about food. Her mother was not a regular cook. That means her mother is no good at cooking. And Meghan remembers most of the food at her table being eaten in haste. She means it was disgusting. Carnation instant breakfast shakes in the morning, deli sandwiches for lunch, though these were often an attempt to deliver on Meghan's request to have a Subway sandwich like she'd seen in the commercials. Her grandmother, whose family came from Tennessee, had a garden where Meghan helped pick greens and make preserves. As she describes it, it was a childhood with close ties, though she says her parenting style is very different from her mother's. She has made it a study using books and apps. So she's using books and apps to be a parent. I'm sure in those books and apps it says be around your children as much as possible, not just leave them in another country. A diligence that has made her an authority within her friend circle. So she's basically saying of all her friends, she is the best parent and they come to her for advice. Wow. Then what do I say to that? I mean, she doesn't seem to have a very close bond with her kids. She's never with her kids. I don't think the apps and the books are helping, love. She's just so smart, and I feel like no matter what, I can always learn from her, says Williams. Okay, so again, Serena is chiming in and trying to convince us that Meghan is smart. The last time the two hung out, Meghan was talking about this amazing woman who is really helpful and how to talk to kids because Meghan doesn't know how to talk to her kids. I'm implementing so much that she's teaching me. Wow, Meghan has really got one over Serena. Like I've said before, Serena might be the GOAT. She might be good at tennis. She might be smart with money matters. But when it comes to being manipulated by people like Meghan, she is a sucker just like anybody else. But when Meghan was growing up, her understanding of how to be a mother and a girl came from the media. Here comes the crack at the media, as much as it did from the women around her. She spoke of wanting to be a mother because of the capable sitcom mums she watched on TGIF shows and because of loving Archie comics. Everyone was like, do you want to be a Betty or a Veronica? Which one did you want to be? I asked her. Oh, Betty, of course, she says, laughing. She was so nice. Well, not exactly nice. That hasn't worked out. The LA of Meghan's childhood, diverse working class neighborhoods and Erewhon, before it was cool, is gone now. It's been changed by time, but also was decimated by fire last winter. Pasadena and Altadena, two of the community's hardest hit, were places she spends a lot of time during her adolescence. I saw homes where I used to have sleepovers reduced to ash. That's because she got to walk around and see things that nobody else was allowed to because people were not allowed into their homes. However, Harry and Meghan got escorted and trampled all over the rubble. Meghan and Harry were both spotted in the aftermath volunteering with Chef Jose Andre and his World Central Kitchen nonprofit. It was less about just giving someone a handout, but giving it to them with dignity, she says. Can you treat it with the same level of care that you would if you had lost everything? Don't even get me started on disaster tourist. Why she would bring that up? No clue. It's nearly time for me to go. Meghan tells me that she'll be having lunch soon with Gloria Steinem, or Glo as she calls her. They met during the pandemic. A mutual acquaintance was in their shared pod. Steinman came to Thanksgiving at Meghan's house. I've always admired her, she says. Meghan is remarkably at ease with the surrealism of global celebrity. In fact, she seems to enjoy it. Oh, you reckon? Of course she loves being famous. This is all she has ever wanted. The house is quiet. The streets outside are too, because of the storm. When I walk to the door, I turn and can see Meghan turn back to the kitchen, illuminated by the green light of the rain-soaked garden, ready to move on to the next thing. So there you go. That is the Harper's Bazaar interview. This photo's not helping, I have to say. I mean, that needs to be, I don't know, evened out or something. I usually would say don't Photoshop, but I think probably you could tweak a few things there. But what did you think of that? There are so many angles. She clearly is trying to fix her reputation once again. She's roping in people like Serena Williams, Kelly Zajfen, and good old Terry Wood is there just to try and make us think that she is a good person, she's strong, she's nice, she's so smart. Well, I honestly think it is way too late for any of this. We are 5 years down the road now. This just doesn't work anymore. But please let me know your comments. I love to read everything you put down there. Please like and subscribe, and I will keep these videos coming. Thank you. Bye.